Did you grow up in Canada? Were you alive in the 90s? Did you love YTV? Yeah, you did. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Look at that picture right there. Handsome guy. And here he is in person. What's going on?
It's good. How are you doing, Ryan?
Oh, dude, it's been ages. Actually, it's been about 13 months. 13 months.
Perfect timing.
Since we've not since we've communicated, but since you've been on the broadcast. And I can't show all of them because, Goosebumps signature colors I find are purple and green. And but I buy these things off your website, man. If you go to jacobusstudios.com, everybody, Tim sells these beautiful prints of the Goosebumps book art. And the thing is, I'm not a frame type of guy. So I had it laminated actually. And even though this is autographed and stuff like that, it just means the next time I see you, I'm going to have to get you to autograph it again. But everybody, you could buy autograph prints on Tim Jacobus's website, jacobusstudios.com. And I got to say, when it's laminated, man, this thing is going to be around forever. It's a mainstay in my hallway. And it's the stuff I've wanted my whole life because I just love your art so much. But there's this book out now where apparently a lot of people share my sentiment about your skills. Now, Tim, quickly tell me, how does the art of Goosebumps come into existence? Who contacted you? Tell me the story behind this.
Well, it's actually it goes book right here.
It does exist.
It does exist. It's tangible. See, there's pages inside.
I like it.
Oh, it does exist. There's we're still a little behind. My understanding was that the book was going to be released on the 30th of November. They're still taking pre-orders. Again, there's so much going on in the economy. I don't know what's going on with that. And kind of out of my jurisdiction. So
of course,
So you would think that a book about yourself, people would reach out and they would discuss it with you. And that's not how this one worked out.
Really?
Yeah. So,
okay.
So there's a publisher in New Jersey that bought the rights to to do a Art of Goosebumps book.
Okay.
They dealt with Scholastic. I found out after they had already bought the license and that they were underway and they were doing it. We had some discussions earlier on, and this was their project, not mine.
Gotcha.
And listen, having a book about you is incredibly flattering. But if someone I could have bought the rights from Scholastic as well and made a book about me. And I hope this comes out right, but I can't think of anything more terrible than having to write a book about yourself and what you've done. It seems, I don't know, it seems self-indulgent. It seems, I know the story, so I'm going to be rolling my eyes the whole time that I'm doing it. So it was really great that someone took this out of my hands and ran with it. So the publisher was working on it for a while, and they were having issues with getting images, and it went back and forth. And from what I understand is when you buy a license, you have a time frame for that license, and you can't buy it and hang on to it forever. So I have no idea what the time frame is for that. So I had heard about the book. It kind of went away. Again, nobody's keeping me posted. So they were near the end of the, again, these are all stories I heard. So if somebody goes out and finds something else on the internet that contradicts me, I can only go by what I've heard. They were getting near the end of the lease of the license.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine reached out to me And this was, this was at the 11th hour, and a very close friend of mine who is a book designer reached out to me, and he said, "Oh, did you know that Dynamite is doing a book about you?" And I said, "Oh, they've been working on it for a while." I said, "I don't think it's going anywhere." And he said, "Well, they just reached out to me to do the book, to be the designer." Now, I know this guy's work. I know him personally. Our friends, our kids were friends. I've known him for 20 plus years. So I knew if he decided to take it on that it was going to get done well.
Okay.
So he's like, "Yeah, I'm thinking about doing it." And so that gave me some new enthusiasm. So I was like, "Listen, Mark, if you're going to do it, I will dig out everything." I said, I'm not going to help you. I said, "But I'll dig out all the raw material. If you want to sort through it, I'll give you sketches. I'll give you old files. I'll give you anything that you need to put this thing together." Because, and like I said, I've seen him do work before. He is incredibly, incredibly meticulous. And he sorted through literally thousands of files. My filing was not done for, I'm not an accountant, so I saved stuff, but it was in a very haphazard order. Anyway, he sorted through everything, and what we were all happy about at the end is you're not just gonna see just the cover art. You're gonna see sketches and preliminary things and color comps and stuff that you didn't see, so you can see the whole progression. And again, lots of work on his part, and I thank him much, because it was a very labor intensive task.
Dude, it really does sound like it was a labor intensive task, and it's really cool that you knew somebody who. It's not like the book just showed up on your front step, and you're like, "The hell is this?"
Exactly, and that very well could have been the case. It could have been one day walking through the store and seeing, "Oh, look at that! There's a book about me." So
it turns out there's a sex tape I'm in.
It's really boring. It's really boring.
It doesn't even go till the credits. Anyhow, getting back to Goosebumps and stuff like that. Just because I know that he's got to go to work, I'm just gonna message him right now. We're gonna YTV. You mean YTV. Sometimes when we don't have a guest, we talk to some fans. My friend Justin here is a very cool dude, and he's coming in right now. Justin, how you doing, man?
Oh, super, super well. How are you?
Well, I'm going to leave you boys together because Justin, show him your arm first of all.
All right, we're going to start off like that. Well, first, mad pleasure to be able to speak with you. Like, for real, you designed my childhood. And the reason why I'm on here, the reason why I know Ryan and everything is because I have a whole tattoo sleeve dedicated to YTV. And the first one that I got was Are You Afraid of the Dark? But the one that takes considerable real estate on my arm is Goosebumps and your covers.
Oh, wow.
And it's actually two covers. It's Haunted Mask, and I took the background from Werewolf of Fever Swamp.
Oh,
can't see it, but
yeah.
So it's an honor to be able to talk to you. Like I love the books. I'm sure you've heard this a million times from everybody, but what really got us to read the books was the artwork. I was in that age range between.
I have heard that, but it does. It still resonates with me. Let's stay on your tattoos for a minute, because I was always that guy who, when I started to see Goosebumps tattoos show up, I was going, I don't get it. I don't know why. I don't know why you're doing that, because my intuition was, call me and I'll design something for you that's unique and new, and so you have a one of a kind. And it wasn't until like years later where I kind of it dawned on me how the whole thing was working. The Goosebumps covers represent a time and a place for you, and that's the attraction. It's not the artwork per se, although it is the artwork. It looks cool, but it's more about what it represents, something from a time when you were growing up, a time, it holds a specific thing. So I got past it, and I think they're very cool now, and I don't roll my eyes anymore.
Well, it's exactly that. It represented a point in my life that, like, it was, I think I grew up in one of the best decades ever. I was born in 1990, and I had like the whole rest of the decade to kind of, with so much content for children that I think is phenomenal, especially since like the artwork was not dumbed down for children. Like I look at artwork even from the 90s, and it was like soft type of drawings, very like safe. And the Goosebumps didn't treat children like children. It's like, here's your artwork, here's the book you're going to read. And to this day, I still appreciate it. I will take you up on the offer, though. If you want to design something, I will pay you, and I will take that.
Right, we'll talk.
Heck yeah. So I did have a question, because I'm such a big fan, and I saw like the progression of the style of artwork that you had between like the first Goosebumps books and where you kind of left off, but where in the beginning was a little more glowy, and it moved to more like shinier highlights, and then kind of more surrealism. What was your inspiration for some of these things? What artists did you, I guess, grew up looking up to?
I went to art school in the 1980s, and there was a handful of guys most of the art that we were drawn to, at least I was album art, album cover art. So that was that was the gallery, and we all had huge album collections, and you'd pull them out while you're playing the music, and you'd always be looking at the liner notes, but you'd always be staring at the artwork. And there was a number of artists who made their way through that whole thing. But there was a specific artist named Roger Dean, who was the artist for the band Yes.
Yeah.
And his stuff just resonated with me. And it was kind of the same thing. It was a time and a place where I was, starting to learn how to draw, and I was enjoying it. And it was mostly, I see that, I draw that. And it wasn't until I saw his work where it was, no, go past that. Draw what isn't that, draw something that only you can see, bring it to life so that other people can see into some other realm, some other world. And, make a friend of mine used to refer to my paintings as windows. And he always would say he wants to buy another window for his house. So you would be able to step up to that painting and look out onto something new. So, yeah, Roger Dean had a huge influence on me. There's a little Roger Dean right there.
Definitely.
So very, very landscape oriented, but something you've never, again, he was creating stuff from scratch. So it started that thought pattern of, okay, you got to make up stuff from scratch. Or if you're doing something that is known, put a spin on it and make it something that you couldn't just go walk over and shoot a photograph of.
Amazing. Well, thank you for that, and I'll leave you to Ryan. I really appreciate you answering the question. And honestly, you were like the Andy Warhol for '90s kids, for real. We love. We still talk about it.
I'll take that. I will definitely take that.
Thank you for talking with me. I appreciate it. Take it easy.
Hey there, Justin. Have a good night.
See you, man.
Bye. Yeah, Justin's good people, and he also is so playing considerate. Like sometimes, if I was him, I would never leap. I would have to be pulled out off the stage with a cane, like a Looney Tunes cartoon. So that kind of maturity and that kind of anyway, Justin's great, great dude, and he's a great musician. So man, isn't it crazy that people like still say all this kind of stuff to you? But not only that, you're still influencing people, like kids these days. My friends' kids love the stuff, and they don't look at it as this dated 90s thing. They just look at it as books, because I think the Goosebump books weren't filled with signs of the times. Like Sally was terrified and clasped her like plaid shirt and screamed in terror. Oh, it was just her pager. Like they weren't bogged down with this kind of like, specific to 90s timeline. Like the books could really happen anytime. If someone's cell phone breaks, the story is plausible,
Right. But there'd be no cell phone
No.
in a Goosebumps story. That's not happening. Nobody's calling their way out of it. Nobody's looking up anything on the internet. You gotta all live by the seat of your pants. But go back to what you're saying. There's I haven't found the rhyme or the reason why we're still talking about this. This should have faded and gone along the way. The normal progression would be, I remember Goosebumps when I was 10 and 11 years old, but now that I'm grown up, I'm over it. It's not that cool. But again, I think it's a testimony to RL's writing, that these stories do seem fresh. I do covers for a lot of books and a lot of different kinds of books, not just books, but adult books. And I read a lot of really terrible books. And even though the Goosebumps were not written for me, I'm old now. I've gone back and read a few of them, and the structure and the pacing and how the stories are put together are genius. It just rolls out, and you go, yeah, I know the subject's not for me, but the way the story flows and goes is beautiful, and it's hard to do. It's like saying, a simple rock song that's only got 3 notes. It's only 3 notes. Famous last words. It's only 3 notes, but it's all how you put it together and all how it's played.
Do you find we're going to have a guest come in just about a minute, because we're talking with adults who said, you made their childhood, but there's some people presently having their childhood that you're currently making as well. So Yannick, if you're listening to this, jump in, buddy. It is time to go. But in the meantime, as we're waiting for the guest number 2 to come in, you told a story once about how, you had to make a book cover very fast. Do you find that you perform well under pressure, or do you enjoy the process of being able to self-edit yourself until you're blue in the face?
No, I'm all about deadlines, and the shorter the better. The self-induced anxiety helps a great deal in getting things done. If I have 3 weeks to do something, I will take the full 3 weeks, and it doesn't equate into being better. Going too fast doesn't equate into it being better, but there has to be a sense of urgency on it, and a sense that you have to kind of work through something to get through it better, or you got to push through and just get it done. And we're all better when we're pushing hard, as compared to feet up, lounging around, drink in your hand. You're not going to be doing your best work. 2 feet on the floor, little bit of anxiety, heart rate up a little bit. You're going to be performing better.
Awesome. All right. Right now in the studio, we're joined by by Saber, and he has a YouTube show called Saber's Cinema Reviews. Saber, come on in, dude. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good.
All right. Well, Tim, this is my good friend Saber, and this is my good friend Saber's dad, who is also a good friend, Yannick.
My good friend Saber's dad.
Yannick plays in a band called the Screaming Demons, which is a horror punk band, and they're absolutely awesome. Listen, I'm going to leave you 2 alone, and you 3 alone. And Saber, I was going to say, make me proud, son. I'm like, no. Saber, ask him whatever you want for however long you want. This is your time, buddy. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
A question I had, the series for Goosebumps, did you do it for only one or all of them?
So when Goosebumps started, I did the very first cover, which was called Welcome to Dead House, and I did Goosebumps for 13 years. So I did the original series and the series 2000. So all in all, I did about 100 Goosebumps covers.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
All right. Well, come on, Saber. You got more questions to that. Saber, you've been reading these books Saber, you've been reading these books recently. Which is the book cover that you like the most?
Nightmare Room, Locker 13.
Oh,
All
okay.
right.
Yeah, and when the
Saber,
other
how old are you?
9.
You're 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty early to be reading Goosebumps. That's good. That's good.
Also, one of my favorite movies was Evil Dead. So, in our house, we really like horror. So, yeah.
Oh, you got the right books at the right age. So, well, we always refer to Goosebumps as the training wheels for horror. So, this is a good place for you to be.
Yeah. My family actually made our own art for my YouTube channel.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's cool.
Wow.
I
Nice.
can't really get it full, but yeah.
From one artist to another.
That is way cool. I love it.
Thanks.
All right, Saber, do you have anything else to ask Tim before we go?
Yeah. Did you also make covers for other things that weren't Goosebumps?
Yeah, actually, I've done more stuff that wasn't Goosebumps than was Goosebumps. So all in all, I think, and this I stopped counting a while ago, but I think I've definitely done more than 300 book covers. So I've done way more stuff that wasn't Goosebumps than was Goosebumps.
Wow. Well, I also have one last question.
Sure.
The book for the Goosebump covers, do you know where I could get one?
That's, I've been getting that question a lot. Pretty soon, it should have been yesterday, but pretty soon it's going to be available on Amazon, and you'll be able to get it through Amazon. So when you get it, I hope you like it.
Okay, I will. I know. Thank
All right.
you.
All right, Saber. Thanks for coming by.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.
Everyone, check out Saber's Cinema Review on YouTube. Fun story. Funny thing about this book is that I'm really glad you're endorsing it because it means it's not a Ponzi scheme. I mean, that's the best part because there's people that could have said, yeah, an Art of Goosebump books, but it's just a bunch of napkins with some mayonnaise on and mustard.
And we've been at this a long time. The original release date was back in April.
Oh, okay. Wow. That is a long time.
Been able to pre-order it since April. So there's some very patient people out there. Nobody's lost their mind as of this time. So again, it's nothing malicious. And I would be the worst guy to be in this scenario for. I'd end up paying for everybody's book out of my pocket if I thought something bad happened. So
there you go. TIM JACOBUS, a trusted source. But everybody out there, I just want to specify once again. I'm gonna bring this up right now. I gotta turn my effect off here. Nope, that's not it. Yes. Nope, that's not it either. Don't you just love it when this happens on the air? Yeah. Nope, never mind. I tried, but it's not happening. I wanted to show another example of Jacob. Well, you know what? I'm just going to show it again. You can order a print. I had mine laminated, but you can order these prints, and they're very big. They don't have to be this big. They could be smaller too, off of JacobusStudios.com. And it's amazing. I mean, they're beautiful. They're vibrant. You autograph them. And, are you still doing them for a good cause? Or
yes. Half the proceeds, $10 a piece, $10 per poster goes to purchasing food for the local food bank. The food delivery just came today. I've got a whole bunch of boxes upstairs that will be run over to the food bank on the weekend. So, yeah, we try to do a little good along the way. Again, it's all out of the Goosebumps fans' generosity for buying the prints. So
well, that's really nice. I mean, usually fans sometimes are very generous and then they're very greedy sometimes, but it's really cool that you yourself, and it's your son, right? You and your son like literally bring the food around. It's not like you're outsourcing it to some company that's like,
we're
sure,
not check.
we'll buy it. Yeah, we'll buy food with it.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
exactly. Now we literally purchase the food ourselves. Although we don't drive it around to the individual's house, we do load it into the truck and then we take it over to the food bank, and they do all the distribution through their organization.
Yeah, but that's what a food bank does. It's not like you're dropping.
I watching those people work, and they're all volunteers. Those are special people. You know?
Yeah, you don't drop it off at the pharmacy with wishful thinking. You're actually bringing it to the most effective place where it's needed. So that's good. Hey, we got a lot of comments. First of all, Bernadette, how you doing? It is so nice to see you. Bernadette's, I believe, commented on every single interview we've ever done together, Tim. So
that's good. You got You got a healthy fan there.
All right. CRC says, I'm curious how big a canvas those paintings were done on. Seems like they have a lot of detail. The original works must be fairly large. That's a great question.
Yeah, that's correct. The original artwork was 20 inches by 20 inches. They weren't done on, they were done on illustration board. It's a double thick cold press board made for artists. The 20-inch, the sheets come 30 by 40. We just determined half a sheet would be 20, and because they were squares, we ended up with the 20/20 format. That does give you the opportunity to put in a lot of detail, and then when it's reduced down and put onto the cover, it makes it that much tighter. So it wasn't, my covers weren't considered big, but they weren't considered small for what everybody was doing at the time in the book business. Kind of an average size.
Cool. Well, I figured out how to turn my green screen off so we could appreciate the detail that you were talking about. Since I'm holding this right now, can you tell me about the painting of Welcome to Horrorland? Because that's one of the most famous covers and enjoyed covers. But when you look at the detail of, Horrorland in the background looming in the sunset, and the detail in the sign, and the little mascot here, maybe his name's Eddie and he plays for Iron Maiden, or this tree, even down to the tree and the shading and the light. Can you tell me about painting this marvelous masterpiece?
So the key to it is the background. It's what's the farthest off in the distance, that eerie rundown amusement park that's off in the distance. I knew that in the foreground I was going to make a sign, and the sign itself is cool, but it's still just a sign. So that thing out in the distance really needed to be compelling and someplace that you were either drawn to or repelled by, depending on your frame of mind.
Awesome. Hey, I got to ask you about this. I found this on Google, and I was delighted to know.
It's got to be true, right?
Oh, yes, of course. TIM JACOBUS for president.
We're doomed.
Exactly. No, I saw this. I believe it was something you did for a Comic-Con, and it was just so cool because I love your world of Goosebumps and I love the Gremlins, and it was really cool to see both of them come together here. Where is this from?
This was for a con that I wasn't at. This was for, oh geez, I'm going to draw a blank. This is terrible. This is for a famous director, the guy who did Gremlins and
Joe Dante.
Yeah. Thanks, Joe Dante. And Joe Dante was there. It was his fifth, his 30th anniversary, 50th anniversary of filmmaking, and they wanted to do something special for him. So that piece was a montage of all his different movies, all kind of squeezed into one illustration. And that one was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed doing that.
Well, I love it. I mean, you have Gizmo, you have the Howling.
Yep, we got there's the piranha fish down at the bottom. There's then they're in the movie studio, so you can see the all the monitors in the background. Then there's what was the one with the toy soldiers?
Very cool, yeah. Small soldiers, yeah.
Small soldiers, thank you. So
Joe Dante, man, what a talent! Like
Oh yeah.
what a visionary.
You know,
Before
until I did the piece, I was going, oh, I know he did a couple movies, but then I was going, oh man, this guy covered them all. It looks like he was doing all the movies for that time period.
Here's a question no one will ever ask you. What's your favorite Joe Dante movie?
I liked Gremlins. You know, I'm not going to go out on a limb here. I like Gremlins. Yeah. That was pretty cool. Yeah.
Me too.
Because, you know, the idea of something, you know, I got suckered in, you know, thinking, oh, it's going to be a cute little movie and this will be, you know, like E.T. or something like that, that things will be lovable. And I like that it took a dark turn real fast and you're going, oh yeah, this is a better way to approach it and made for a way more interesting story.
Awesome. Everybody out there, if you are currently watching this right now, feel free to share, tag friends, and let them know that Tim is here and he's going to be answering your questions. Even though I got tons of them, this is the season of giving, and I want to give something back to the you, me, and a YTV audience, the reason why we exist. It's not me and Tim. It's you, me, and YTV, hence, you know, the interaction. And that's why we do these live. We could record these before and I could edit them to perfection where I don't come across as a babbling idiot. But, you know, live, we don't have that luxury. So we're going to be just answering questions, having some fun, and reading some comments, such as, I'm going to watch Goosebumps on shrooms.
Let me know how that goes. The colors are going to be better.
Well, speaking of colors, I mean, we talked about this in the last interview, I believe. But you know, you gotta love that ending of the first Goosebump movie where they pay homage to all your art. I mean, honestly, that's my favorite part of that Goosebumps movie. It was like, you know, the Goosebump movie is great, but seeing that art come to life, especially in a 3D in a theater, it was surreal, man. And you've told me before, but for everyone joining us for the first time, I mean, that was quite an experience for you as well, right?
Yeah. I got a chance to do a piece of artwork that shows up right at the end of the movie. Jack Black, who is R.L. Stine, sees the invisible boy typing on in the trophy case. He turns and he screams and morphs onto a Goosebumps cover, and then the movie ends. And I got a chance to do that artwork of Jack Black on a Goosebumps cover. So I was doing, you know, we're getting into the meta world where I'm doing artwork of my artwork in my artwork. And but it was cool to be involved in the movie and have a piece in it. And the guys who I was working with kept telling me, oh, wait till you see the movie. There's a special surprise. And we're not going to tell you what it is. There's a special surprise. So it wasn't until I got to the movie theater itself and, you know, we got to the end of the movie. I'm going, you know, cool. My art's in there. That's awesome. But when they rolled to credits, I don't know what the technique is, but there's a way that these guys were able to take my art, separate the pieces out, and do some pseudo animation with them. So
yeah,
the artwork was moving during the credits. And that's cool because the art was never intended. It was always intended to be 2D. It was never intended to be 3D, nor was it supposed to move. So seeing it do both was a real surprise. And I thought it was really cool. I know I was the guy who was the most thrilled at the theater that night.
Yeah, you know, it's and I've seen other, you know, republications of old Goosebumps stories where, you know, they try to sell more books, or for the collectors out there that want to have different ones, but every time they kind of would repaint a cover or something like that, or have a different art style, in my mind, I'm just like, blasphemy. I'm aware, you know, it's the way capitalism works. You just got to do that sometimes. But, you know, I'll never forget the day that my friend Phil Germain, he had a few Goosebump books and I had never heard of them yet. And I remember seeing very distinctly Welcome to Horrorland and The Haunted Mask and just being transfixed with what I was seeing. Is there you know, you mentioned album covers being very being a big influence on you. Can you think of a book cover though that made you, like, you know, made your imagination just burst open and say to yourself, well, darn it, I got to read this thing immediately?
Well, it was a combination of both. It was it was seeing it on a book cover and seeing a style that at the time seemed unachievable. So Frank Frazetta, who is he does guys who are overly muscular, and he did Conan, he did a couple of other stuff, but
they ripped him off for He-Man. It's a
sure.
They're always like, oh my god, this guy, can you do like this? But
he was the man.
Yeah.
It was Stephen King for writing back in the late 70s, early 80s, and it was Frank Frazetta. That's who you wanted to be like. And I remember first seeing his stuff in print and being just blown away. And you're always, as an artist, it was always tough because you're looking at that little 4x7 book and you're trying to see the detail that's in it, and it's always going to come up short. Frank Frazetta lives about an hour from when he was alive, he lived.
Oh shit! I was going to say, I was like, road trip.
Yeah, so we headed out and went to the museum, and that's where I saw his art for real the first time. And again, it's one of those, holy shit, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Oh, I should think about doing something else for a living. It was so cool to see, and then so just demoralizing going, oh, I have so far to go to be anywhere near that level. So it was a Frank Frazetta cover, and I couldn't tell you specifically which one.
That's amazing, man. What you're saying makes a lot of sense, because I've been a musician for like 23 years. And I remember when I was starting out, as much as I really liked, industrial music like Nine Inch Nails at first, it all seemed really hard. But but one of the first bands I ever loved was Weird Al and Green Day. And Weird Al was essentially kind of a cover parody band, and Green Day knew how to play 3 chords. So I assumed as soon as like my real gateway into music was, this can be possible. I was trying to think of Young Frankenstein. It could work. But that's the way I say it.
That's interesting, because so Green Day, let's stick with the Green Day example, because the Weird Al is that's its own thing unto itself. But you're right, Green Day wrote some really powerful music, and they kept stripping it down, and they stripped it down until it was something that was very clean but unbelievably catchy. But you could look at it as a beginner or as somebody who is starting out and go, yeah, that's obtainable. I kind of think that was part of the appeal of the Goosebumps art. It's not highbrow. It's not off the charts. It's not unattainable, but you could look at it as a kid. Wait. You could look at it as a kid and go, oh, that's cool. I'd like to try that. And I've heard tons of guys saying, or kids, or boys and girls saying, I used to copy your covers all the time. So I'm saying, if you were looking at a Frazetta cover and you were 9 years old, you were trying to copy. You were going, I'm out. But my stuff, I think, had that same 3-chord presentability to it, and or simplicity to it, and I think that's part of the attraction.
Speaking of 3 chords, big fan of the Ramones, of course, and I love the Misfits. So all my favorite horror things are from New Jersey. Your art and Misfits the band. I think I saw Bobby Steele on your Facebook friend list. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I've met him. He's a good guy. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Bobby Steele, everybody, is the second guitar player of the Misfits, who was the guitar player before Doyle von Frankenstein. And oh my God, I would love to pick his brain from the beginning stages.
You're not going to meet a nicer guy. Him and his wife, Diana, super, super nice people. Love them to death.
Awesome. So CRC is but speaking of Ramones, at least, and Misfits and all that stuff in the New York area of punk rock, this is a cool question. I'm sure you probably I'm sure I could probably Google the answer, but why do all the characters in Goosebumps cover art wear red Converse? That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah. So when I was growing up, that's the sneakers we all wore. That was that was the brand. Those were the coolest sneakers you could have. Goosebumps Converse, Chuck Taylor high top sneakers around forever. And I always thought that they came around during the 50s, but they've literally been around since the early 1900s. Chuck Taylor was a basketball player way, way, way back in the day. So they were cool when I was in high school, and I wore them all the time. The famous story is my mom used to hate them, and she would always tell me that someday I was going to have to get a real job where I would have to get real shoes and I wouldn't be able to wear my cons anymore. But that day has never come. Didn't do this just for the show, but there's my cons. I got them on now. So it's an integral part of what I wear every day. But when the Goosebumps covers came along, I was like, I'm just going to, as soon as you could see somebody's feet, I'm going, why not? Just throw these in. My friends will think it's funny. My family will think it's funny. I wasn't doing it for anybody else other than my own entertainment. And again, there was never, when we started doing Goosebumps, there was no sign that we would be doing hundreds of books. So I stick the sneakers in. You think it's only going to happen once, maybe twice, and the joke's lost, and who cares? But we kept doing it, and it became a thing. And so it was once we started doing it, we kept on doing it.
That's amazing, man. Why red though? But because it's great, because it stands out.
I did wear red cons at one time,
okay.
But more so, again, saturate the colors in the paintings. Red would just stand out better. I'm more partial these days to black.
Nice. All right. So keep those questions coming, everybody. And Bernadette, thank you very much for tagging. Thank you, everybody, for tagging. Thank you, anybody who's ever watched any minute of any episode of any fucking show I do, because I do a lot of them. And unlike your paintings, which the more the merrier. Sometimes I always worry that I'm oversaturating my own canvas. Anyhow, Tim, dude, it is so cool that this book is coming out. What can you tell me? You have a physical copy. We don't. Tell me about the book is amazingly priced, by the way. Like, I think for what it is, especially a hardcover, it's a total steal. And I know I can't.
It's an oversized, it's the oversized book. It's not small. So it's big. You can get that in there.
Can we have a glance inside?
Prove that there's pages?
Yeah. We're having a very special, moment here, ladies and gentlemen. You're seeing this before Amazon. Ooh,
so
look at all that.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the fact that the slime is everywhere too. Yeah. It's not just like white.
Exactly. The guy who designed the book, it is art in itself. The design itself is, incredibly Goosebumps oriented. Very, very well done. So, yeah.
Hey, Brandon, what's going on? He says, this is my childhood dreams come alive. Brandon, do you got a question for Tim here? And, I said in a post before that if I see your name, I will celebrate you in a song. Brandon. That's a horrible, I regret that. There's a lot of things in my life I've done. And, I've been drunk many places, Tim, but I regret that over all of it. Yeah.
I appreciate you. Listen, look, we got the cool background going on there. You even went all out, and we got the you got the Goosebumps t-shirt on. I was trying to think of what I needed to do to kind of salute you. The best I could do is go with my best Canadian band. So I got my best Canadian band shirt.
Nice.
Well, that's my salute.
I hope I could start speaking in a Canadian accent if it's going to make this a lot more fun. No, the best thing you could do to me, Tim, is continue to be so kind to all your fans all around the world. You know what? Bernadette is a wonderful person, and she is asking, what is your favorite Goosebump book, Tim?
So book and cover are two different things. Favorite Goosebumps book is Stay Out of the Basement. The dad is the botanist in the basement, and it all kind of runs off the rails. I don't know why that one really appealed to me, but I really enjoyed that book. So that's one of my tops. My favorite cover kind of changes all the time. When we talk again a year from now, I'm going to give a different answer.
That's what you think.
You can hope me to. You're asking me what's my favorite right now.
Yeah, there we go.
I was sorting through some stuff, and one of the covers that always stands out is The Beast from the East, because it's one of the few covers that nothing bad is happening. Everything else, there's something bad going down or about to go down on all the covers. And Beast from the East is more of a little trippier looking cover than the rest of them. And I just like the overall weird feel to it.
I like that a lot, man. Justin Vin, who was on there before, Mr. Tattoo Extraordinary, he says he has another question. Did you use the same person for Let's Get Invisible and My Hairiest Adventure?
No. So that's a good question. So all us illustrators, whenever when you get to a certain point in the illustration business and you're doing covers for the bigger publishers, they will give you a budget to hire models to pose for you to be in your painting. So you even get the photographer, you go to a specific photographer. There was a couple of people around Manhattan, and that's all they did was hire people to pose for illustrators so that they had reference for their paintings. It's very extravagant. It was way fun at the time, but these were all professional kid actors and actresses. So I always used different people. I used friends and family whenever I could, only because it was way more fun. But if the person in the cover is going to be very dominant, like Why I'm Afraid of Bees or My Hairiest Adventure, where you're looking right at the kid, you need a really good looking kid. And it's always great to get the professionals because they are all actors and actresses. And if you need them to pretend they're scared, it's not a strain for them, or they're not embarrassed, or there's
not embarrassed. That's a big thing. That's a big thing with kids.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have to yell at them and say, "Come on, kid." So no,
come on, kid. You're in my studio. Get scared.
But the kids were always great, and you worked with adults too. And I did some science fiction stuff as well, and I got a chance to use. Again, I don't know if this is going to resonate with you or the audience, but I got a chance to use the model Fabio. He was a big time romance novel guy.
He cannot believe it's not butter.
He cannot. There you go. Exactly. Yeah. That's the dude. I can't believe it's not butter guy. And so he came in and worked with me on a specific cover. Giant man, huge individual, super nice, super soft spoken. The guy, the humorous guy that you would see on talk shows or on those TV commercials is the guy that he is. He's a super nice guy.
Yeah. Didn't once he got a bird in the face when he was on a roller coaster, unfortunately? Like that seems like a plot of a Saturday morning.
I don't know.
That seems like a plot of a Saturday morning.
Sounds like a fever dream. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like a plot of a Saturday morning supervillain from Hanna-Barbera. Be like, oh, you think you're so pretty, huh? You don't think it's butter, eh? Well, eat bird. Yeah. Anyway, that's what it sounds like to me. Oh, here's a lovely comment. And it's so big, it's almost making us look like Wilson from, Home Improvement. And I'm going to speak like Wilson just for the sake. Well, just wanted to say that I've been very influenced by TIM JACOBUS' covers at a very young age. And okay, I'm going to stop this. And I love the colors and how subtle the creepiness is. They're absolutely timeless. Can't wait for this book. I mean, Tim, it's true because all the covers, like you're going to see, instead of holding a big batch of books and scrolling for Google, people can display this on their coffee tables and have people come in and just say, whoa, Krusty the Clown. Like, just there it is for their enjoyment. And that's what a coffee table book really is.
The cool part is that it is all in one place now.
Yeah.
Where, these were all individual pieces that were strewn about. And again, it's 2 series plus the special edition pieces. There is a ton of artwork in there. And it's nice for me as well. If anybody comes by and they want to know what I do for a living, I got it all in one book now. I can just hand over the book.
Awesome. All right, Brandon. Hey, Brandon. What's going on, Brent? See, I show enthusiasm because I know Brandon. What would you say helps inspire your individual designs?
I think it's the, trying to do stuff that's a little different. Because I've done a lot of pieces, I try not to, let's go back to the comparison of Green Day. I know that what I do is going to have a familiar feel to it, and I want that. I don't want it to be like, oh yeah, now I'm doing oil paintings in the old master style. I'm not trying to do that, but I want to have them always be a spin where when you see anything that I do that's new, it's new and you haven't seen that before. And that's the motivator now, is still trying to be unique every single time I'm taking on something.
Awesome. Bernadette is asking, and you know what? This is a question that leads to a question. She says, "What was your favorite episode of Goosebumps?" But I'm going to ask you, Tim? Did you ever see the show, or was it kind of like you're watching something you've been part of done a different way, and you're just kind of like, I don't know if I can. Also you're a grown man and it's a show for children.
Right.
So
Exactly.
Yeah.
I saw, I wouldn't say I dialed in every week to watch it when it was on. I have gone back now that it's on Netflix to watch it, and it's way more entertaining now. I knew that, that they had a limited budget. And again, I grew up, I was a kid in the 70s, and, Star Trek was the show on TV. And at the time you think it's so mind-blowingly real. And now when you see, reruns of it, you go, oh my God, they had no money. And the special effects are Bush League. That's the fun part, is the campiness of the TV series, and knowing that they had such a limited, it's like, hey, we got this much money and we got to put on a show.
Yeah.
So that's why I did like to dial in, because there were times where they followed my artwork, and the character in the television show had similarities or was spot on for what I had created on the cover. And then there were other times where they just did their own thing. And I remember at first going, why don't you stick with what I had? And then I realized, well, I'm not making anything that's real, and we don't have $1 million budget to create that, the egg monster from Mars, or pick your thing that doesn't exist and have them forced to bring it to life. So,
yeah. It's funny about egg monsters from Mars. My girlfriend Melissa has been a vegan for most of her life and probably sees all egg like your interpretation of Egg Monsters from Mars and looks at it with such disgust, preventing her from ever eating them again. So it's been really cool having you on, Tim. I don't want to take up all your time because sometimes our conversations are legendary and they can go on pretty long. Our conversations once, I think our first one, despite the fact like we thought like Facebook, the episode finished and we were still on YouTube and it was just hanging by and you and I were just talking as people for 20 minutes and then decided to continue.
Yeah, we shut it off and kept talking. And then you go, why are we wasting this? And then we turned it back on. We probably missed 20 minutes of us talking ourselves. So
crazy, man. How's any, the New York Dolls, they're like, they influenced everybody. Johnny Thunders influenced everybody from the Ramones to Kiss to everybody. I know you're the type of person that doesn't walk around saying, I'm Tim Jacobus. I did all the Goosebump covers.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome. You don't do that, but people like me come up to you all the time and they say, dude, your books were a pivotal part of growing up. Does any of the people that you've inspired show you their art and you say, damn, that's pretty freaking good?
Oh yeah, it happens all the time.
A little too good.
Well, listen, it's all very flattering. I hope there's somebody who can just blow me out of the water. I hope I had some influence. Again, if it just got you interested when you were 9, 10, 11, 12 years old and you decided that you like to draw, that's good enough. If that's the kickstart that got you motivated and rolling, that's a hell of a legacy. And I know I have a very I think I have a pretty good, honest opinion on where my talents lie and where it is. I was lucky enough to be hooked up with the greatest writer in the world. So that gave me the opportunity to have my art pushed in front of literally hundreds of millions of people. Very few people get that luxury. So the exposure part of it really drove my popularity. See if I can reel this back in and put it on a much smaller scale. When I went to art school, I was far from the best artist in the school. I was far from the best artist in my class. So again, I've been very blessed. The reason my art is cool is because R.L. Stine wrote cool stories and I had great subject matter to illustrate. If he wasn't any good, then my books would be boring.
Speaking of your influences, the people you influence, Gabe, who you spoke to last time, we had two guests last time. It was Gabe and it was he drew this and for me specifically because we had a big conversation about how we loved Attack of the Mutant and back before Marvel made 50 movies a year, even though I say that not sarcastically, I'm actually very happy that they do. He drew that originally based on inspiration by our conversation. So thank you very much, Gabe. Gabe is All Things Comics on Instagram. Make sure you check him out. You were talking about R.L. Stine right there. I have a question from my friend Jasmine I'm going to ask right after this, but tell me about Bob. As you referred to him, Bob, I call him RL.
Yes.
Yeah, I call or Roll. You call him Bob. Tell me about your relationship with Bob. How was Bob? When I first heard of R.L. Stine, I thought he was this maniacal guy writing novels in his basement, in a cellar somewhere or a haunted castle. But it turns out Bob's just a regular, really nice dude. Tell me about R.L. Stine.
Super nice guy. I saw him maybe a month ago. It was a couple days before his birthday. I saw him in Manhattan. We had to get together to sign some books. He's doing real great. He just continues to work like nobody else. He continues to pump out the covers. Again, super nice guy. I think what most people don't know is that we worked on the Goosebumps series for something like 2 years before we were ever in the same room and shook each other's hand. So
Wow.
although we were a team, we didn't know each other. So we check in with each other on a regular basis through email and through texts. Again, love him to death. He's been super nice to me, super nice to my family, and he's a great guy.
Well, you guys met in the early 90s, so were you communicating through like carrier pigeon and
well, that's just it. I think that, that probably had a lot to do with it. I didn't think about it till you just said it now. He was, the night I met him, he was speaking at a some event, and I happened to be in the city that day. I don't think I went in specifically for that. I think I was in delivering a job or seeing my rep or seeing an art director, and I knew this thing was going on, and it was a big event, and I just kind of moved over to the side and got up on this elevated platform just so that I could get a better view, because there were so many people down on the floor, and I just luckily weaseled myself right next to him and didn't know I was standing next to him until I was next to him. So my ex-wife was with me, and she tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Look who's standing next to you." So introduced myself, and I like the joke that I said, "Hi, I'm Tim Jacobus," and he said, "Tim who?" He didn't say that. That's not true.
Oh, that's really, well, no, you have a very unique last name. I'm sure like there's Jacobus, he probably was saying it wrong phonetically for so long before meeting you and pronouncing it wrong. He's like, "Oh yeah, Tim Jacobus. What an artist, man. Great dude." That's really cool to hear that that's how you guys got together. Okay, I'm reading some stuff here. Okay. Are all the special editions artwork in the book? I remember a few years ago you said you weren't in possession of some of them.
I'm not in possession of any of them. I have none of the original Goosebumps artwork. All I have is reproductions of them. Scholastic has them all. There's a bunch that are a bunch. I think there's 4 or 6 hanging in the lobby of the Scholastic lobby. I know the other ones are someplace else. But the way it would work is we would finish the painting. I would finish the paintings. We would take they were called transparencies. These are giant 8x10. They look like slides, the old 1x1 slides. Same thing. Yeah. A positive, transparent version of the work, and they're great for reproduction. So we would take a copy of all the artwork like that. I have a great deal of my artwork that way. I have all the Goosebumps stuff, except the special edition stuff. We didn't stay on top of it. So I didn't have reproductions of all of them. We tracked down a couple of extra ones, but no, every single special edition isn't in there. And I'm not even sure I know all of them. Like every once in a while, something pops up on the internet and I, have to go, "Oh, that's right. I did that one too. I forgot that one." And again, I don't have all of them, but there's a lot of art in here. So I don't think you're gonna be disappointed that we're skimping on anything.
No, not at all. Samantha is saying my brother and I grew up watching and reading Goosebumps childhood memories. Absolutely. Nice. That's a common theme. There's so many people that grew up watching Goosebumps, but it's so nice that the books were so accessible to people. Not only they were relatively very easy to read, but at the same time, good on Scholastic for getting them in every store. You weren't
and every school. Did you guys have the Scholastic book fairs?
Schools? You know what? We kind of did. Well, I went to a smaller elementary school, but we had the Scholastic catalog that would show up every month. And it was so exciting to order the books and have them show up. And funny enough story, there was like this not a Goosebump fan club, but this kind of a scholastic, scary club or something where you would get the new Goosebump book, but it would also send you these little books on, about vampires and about werewolves and stickers and glow in the dark stickers. And sure enough, this was like 20 something bucks in the early 90s, and my mom was having none of it to do that every single month. And I kind of agree with her in hindsight. But now I'm an adult. I can buy my own things, and I will buy your book. No questions asked. But I definitely want to say this. My friend Jasmine Gunn and her brother Jake Gunn are wonderful people. And I asked Jasmine if she had any questions for you, and she sent me this on Facebook. She said, "Tell him hello. His artwork was my introduction to sci-fi and horror and really inspired me to keep reading and telling people about Goosebumps. I looked forward to his art in the I looked forward to his books in the Scholastic books. I looked forward to his art in the Scholastic books and to see them all lined up in our school library." And that's true, Tim. When you see all those books in a row, you kind of get the feeling of those Pokemon cartoons I barely understand. I gotta catch them all. And it's true. When you see all the Goosebump books lined up on one shelf, it's like this powerful unity feeling of, oh, these all belong together. And they're different books about different people, even though some are sequels, some are not. But they all feel like they belong in the same world, And I think people I think people can really credit that with you and your art style, despite the fact of you're painting a werewolf or an invisible kid or a giant hamster. It always felt like it was coming from the same place. Did you ever take any broad strokes and really try to change it up, or you say to yourself, "Oh, no, don't stir the pot. Keep it up"?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. No is the short answer. I was never trying to. So Goosebumps, when it started, there was not high hopes for it. The publisher and everybody thought it was going to be short-lived. They thought that it might be too scary for the age group that they were targeting it to. No one had tried it before. And so at the beginning, it wasn't given, a ton of attention, at least from the art director's point of view. I had done a bunch of books where there would be a lot of people who had a say, and they were, there was a lot of time spent on, what are we going to do on every cover? And there was a lot of input from multiple individuals. And with the Goosebumps stuff, it was kind of, one person. I was dealing with only one other person, and we got along well. And I would submit 3 sketches, and it'd be like, yeah, okay, that's cool. Do that one. And I knew that the attraction for my art was the rich colors. So I knew I was going to go home and, really saturate the colors and play around with colors I had never done before. And it was all just kind of like, okay, let's just go have some fun and not get all worked up over it. And so you do 3 and you think, okay, that might be it. 3 might be enough. And then it's like, oh, well, we're going to do 6. Oh, cool. Let's do 6. And then, oh, we're going to finish out the year. We're doing 12. Wow, 12. Unbelievable. A whole year's worth of work. And then
how does anybody produce books that quickly, though, when you really think about the writing?
That's the mind-blowing part is he just cranks that stuff out. And Goosebumps wasn't the only gig he had. He had multiple gigs. So, mind-blowing. So, I only have to do the cover, and I'm having a hard time staying up with him. And but I think that's the other attraction, and I've mentioned this before. I don't know if I mentioned it here, is every story was unique. New monster, new kids, new town, new scenario. Everything's new every time. And if I was doing, I don't know, name a famous series, it's always that same kid. I'm Nancy Drew. It's always going to be Nancy. And she's always going to be kind of looking the same and doing the same thing. So the idea that he was reinventing the wheel and we were reinventing the wheel once a month made it, like you knew when you walked up to see what the new Goosebumps was going to be, you had no idea. Hell, I had no idea. So that was, I think, the big attraction was it could be anything was, anything was possible.
I'd just like to give a big thanks to everybody who's watching right now. I noticed that a lot of our comments are coming from YouTube, and usually they come from Facebook. So thank you very much, everyone who's tuning in on the YouTube page. Make sure you like and subscribe to both pages, because we are going to always broadcast to both of them. At the best of our ability, even though I think Facebook are a little bit more relaxed about using old clips than YouTube is currently. But today, to make sure that this episode doesn't get blocked at all, we're not using any clips at all. We're using art that we hold, drawn by other people. Tim, before we go to the end, once again, everybody, feel free to ask some questions. We'll see if we have time right before we wrap up. But Tim, where you have started doing conventions again? It's been a wacky 2 years, yes, but you're a tough guy, and you're at these conventions, you're meeting the people. Tell me about your first show back.
The first show back wasn't indicative of what the rest of the year ended up being. So, and I've talked to a couple of other guys, and they kind of had the same experience. So my first show back was in Florida. Now, I don't know how familiar you are with what's going on here in the States, but certain states are way more locked down than other states.
Yeah.
Florida and Texas are the ones that are the most wide open and, have the least restrictions. So the first convention that I had back was in Florida. And when I got there, you're concerned. You have masks and you're doing all that stuff. And people are saying, getting on planes is still, a little dicey. But when we got to the show, I just started to laugh. I was going, oh my God, this is like nothing has changed. There was some people with masks, but, and then when the crowds came, they came in large numbers. It was just like nothing had changed. And it was, a very successful convention. And I was like, holy smokes, this is way, this is way better than what I thought it would be. And then, reports started to come in, and, like COVID wasn't quite going away the way people thought. So the next con and the next con and the next con, you saw more and more people. You saw less people showing up, and you saw more people in masks. And I think more people were just deciding, I'm still not sure. This is an indoor event. That's a lot of people. I don't know yet. So all the shows that I've been to after that one have been like that. The attendance has been much less, but the people which is nice for the people who are coming and want to meet you. There's not a big crowd, and you can come and hang and talk to me as long as you want. There's not anybody pressuring you to get out of the way, or, they need my time as well. So the people who chose to be there really, really, really wanted to be there, and I could also give them more time. So much better for longer conversations, and it was real good. Again, it was real good to be out.
Of course. And interaction, there's no, like, as much as I like talking to you through a screen, I'm sure it would be a total blast to actually see you in person and communicate with people in person and do a panel. Like when you hear a panel and the crowd roar and all that stuff, there's nothing like it.
No, like like you said, it has been a real solid substitute. This whole ability to, that the technology was available for everybody, so that we could have conversations like this and with everybody else who's watching tonight. And it's pretty good, but you're right.
I'm getting used to it.
Yeah, and we are getting used to it, but there's nothing like reaching across the table and shaking somebody's hand and, having that conversation face to face.
Yeah, there's all these new Goosebump memes coming out like that are kind of funny based on the pandemic. Like, and I could just be like, handshakes without hand, the unclean hand, just all these regular ones. Anyway, everybody out there watching right now, thank you very much for all the time you have spent watching us tonight, but also we appreciate the questions. We appreciate the interactivity. We're doing what we can. But Tim, I'd like to thank you because the first time you came on the show we were a few months into COVID and people were going kind of nuts, me. And the reason why we broadcasted so much is to stop going nuts. And the fact that you were so friendly and willing to, take the time to communicate with the audience and really just try to put a smile on all their faces is means the world to us. I gotta say, because that's what people tell me all the time. They're like, you know what? I was kind of going crazy and watching broadcasts and that kind of stuff and just hearing voices and not just watching a show, but watching a show that you can actually affect. A great question can, make 5 great minutes, and it's all because of you, audience. So thank you very much for, providing us with that.
This has been the ability to be able to do this and get out there, because like you say, the only other avenue is to go out to conventions, and if the convention doesn't come to your town, then we're not going to meet. So this is a great interim step. And I appreciate coming out and talking about this stuff as well. I'm not, people always, I have been asked a lot if I get tired of talking about this. And, it's been going on for over 25 years. I don't, I like talking about, I like talking about things that I know and then other people are interested in. And it thrills me that people still like the art that I did all those years ago. They like the new stuff that I do. And as an artist, that's all you could wish for, is that people like what you do.
Awesome. All right. That's a really good time to go out. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for watching Yumi and YTV. Just to say on a non-Tim Jacobus note that the website retrokid.ca has official licensed really cool YTV merchandise, and I recently bought a VR Arcade Top 10 hoodie and 2 YTV shirts, and I might just have to dip back in there because I believe they're launching Mr. Dress Up shirts at 9:00 tonight. We are not sponsored by retrokid.ca at all, but I just got to tell you, after doing this show for 5 or 6 years, this is the only YTV merchandise officially licensed gear I was ever able to actually buy. So very appreciative of that. Besides Rockin' Tim's designs, of course, I'm going to be wearing that gear all the time. Tim, is there anything you'd like to say before we go? Any current projects that you want to plug, or where people can find you on the internet? Where can people get the most Jacobus in their lives as possible?
The most Jacobus in their lives comes from jacobusstudios.com. We have prints and stuff available there. When the book comes in, I'm planning on selling autographed copies of the book through the site. I'm going to be adding a couple of more of the Goosebumps prints to the 10 that we have now, and
such as,
I get a lot of suggestions, and you can make one too if you want. But I haven't pulled the trigger yet on what the next 2 will be. But that'll be a surprise.
There we go. Well, we gotta love surprises in a world where every week is a surprise. This is a good one. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for watching You, Me, and YTV. Do the thing. If you are watching this just by chance, subscribe. And if you are already subscribed, well, thank you very much. Give the video a thumbs up, because then people who don't know me will think I'm cool. And that helps, especially when it comes to booking other guests and all that other stuff. And you're on Facebook, share this around. Tim's a legend. And all these stories today, even though they're not watching it live, it's still very interesting, especially you meeting Bob, aka RL, as something I never heard before. And I adored it, man. Thank you so much for stopping by, Tim. You almost swore again. You rule. All right, everyone. Have a good night. See you next time.